Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Bradford Eric.
Bradford, what can you tell us?
Christine, a Fargo police detective called this sickening and disgusting. Cass County State's Attorney Birch Burdick had comments to the effect of, "You'd think someone's humanity would have stopped them from doing this." A 55-year-old Leeds man was discovered dead on the train tracks in Benson County around 11:35 a.m. Saturday. Pew Research shows that more and more people are getting their news from their cell phone. But having such a high-quality video camera available right at our fingertips means that we're more likely to share the news right as it happens.
We don't, excuse me, thank you.
Tom Hoos just closed the door on me and his customers' complaints. My first stop was with the American Board of Medical Specialties, which houses a nationwide master list of doctors.
How did that all play into today's funeral?
You know, I think we've all heard the song Amazing Grace, whether it's played on a piano or guitar or what have you. But to hear it played on bagpipes in front of you, in front of thousands of law enforcement and military personnel, everyone there to honor Officer Mosier, just incredibly powerful. And any reason you want to talk with us, Sergeant? Any reason you won't talk with us?
Sir, I'm not exactly sure. Please turn it off. Talk to us.
Yeah. Answer my questions. Tell me, it's basically a race against Mother Nature until temperatures basically just drop off the face of the earth. Those super cold temperatures are coming. Nationwide, we've heard of scandals involving the VA, including patients actually dying in waiting rooms before they could get in to see a doctor. But that doctor may not even be as qualified as they should be, despite what is being advertised. This website lists the doctors practicing at the Fargo VA hospital, and you can clearly see on the website a column listing which ones are board certified. I checked into national and state databases to find out if these people are who they're advertised to be. My first stop was with the American Board of Medical Specialties, which houses a nationwide master list of doctors that are board certified. Most of the Fargo VA folks checked out, but for the ones who didn't, I kept digging. I checked with the North Dakota Board of Medicine, asking who and who isn't licensed to practice medicine. That further narrowed my list. Then I began checking into extremely specific genres of medicine. The American Board of Prosthodontics, the National Commission on Certification of Physician's Assistants, and the American Board of Podiatric Medicine. 6 doctors keeping our veterans healthy and advertised as being board certified did not show up in any place I looked.
So I think it's harmful to patients when people say there's something that they're not.
Dr. Sherry Orser is the North Dakota delegate to the American Medical Association and a practicing OB/GYN in Bismarck. She says all this does is erode that trust between a doctor and their patients.
And the most important thing between a doctor and patient is trust.
So what is board certification, and what does it mean to you if you see that next to your doctor's name?
What it means is you went through a residency program and you took a test or series of tests depending on your specialty that showed that you were an expert in that specialty.
It means your doctor went above and beyond, spending extra time and money to make sure they are up to date with best practices and the latest advances in their field.
And then there's the American Board of Physician Specialists, and then I think there's a couple others that are out there. Okay. So the ABMS is one, but they might be board certified in something else.
Dr. Breton Weintraub, Chief of Staff at the Fargo VA, says he's confident that his people are who they say they are, despite my investigation. But that's part of the problem here. There are so many medical boards that somebody can be certified with, it's nearly impossible to find out if it's true. Even Dr. Weintraub, a board-certified doctor himself, admits it's incredibly difficult information for the average patient to find out.
So which board certified them? And some, we can't distinguish between them as a facility. There are different boards, there's different specialties, there's different requirements.
Another problem, the VA's website listing the doctors practicing and their credentials is only updated periodically, and it changed since I began my investigation, with some doctors removed. Bradford, Eric, Valley News Live.
1 week ago, shots rang out in North Fargo and Officer Jason Mosier lay helpless on the street. Many of you have been asking, as a convicted felon, how did Marcus Schumacher get the gun that killed Officer Mosier? I spoke with the ATF this afternoon. The ATF confirmed to me they have been investigating how Schumacher was able to get a gun. Since he was convicted of a felony, he should have been prohibited from purchasing one. They tell me that at some point Schumacher petitioned in district court to have his rights restored, and that petition was approved. This was made possible because of a change to the North Dakota Century Code in 2011. This man, former Representative Dwayne Ducray, proposed changes to the Century Code as a legislator in 2011. Those changes included amending the code to include the following: an individual who is prohibited from possessing a firearm due to a conviction of a felony may petition the district court where they live for a restoration of the individual's firearm rights. I contacted former Representative Dwayne Ducray late this afternoon to find out why the law was changed. He said he couldn't remember why it was amended, but says it was widely supported, and if this is the case, some judge somewhere in the state agreed to Schumacher's request. Just behind me here is 1746 Huntington Court, the unlicensed home daycare where this happened. Police say the baby was taken to Essentia Hospital and then flown to Minneapolis with internal injuries, and that child is still on life support right now.
The extent of the injuries appeared to be internal injuries that may have resulted from shaken baby or a baby being dropped.
West Fargo Police Chief Mike Wrighton says it was when the child was brought to Essentia Health that the internal injuries were discovered, and there was concern the child would die. According to Sanford Health, shaken baby syndrome is the most common cause of brain injury for children in the first 2 years of life. A baby's neck cannot support its head when shaken, and this can lead to brain damage, seizures, or death. Although CPR on a small child can cause injuries, police say it doesn't appear that's the case.
My understanding is the type of injury was consistent with something other than as the result of the CPR.
The West Fargo PD is not the only agency investigating what happened.
The baby lives in Fargo with its family and comes to a daycare out here in West Fargo. Therefore, Fargo and West Fargo are investigating the case along with social services.
I reached out to the daycare for comment. I was told talk to their lawyer and then had the door closed on me. The lawyer's comment, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the young man and his family at this very difficult time." Reporting live in West Fargo, Bradford, Eric, Valley News Live. Police officers are dedicated on duty and off, but do you know how hard it is to become one? Court documents say the mother of a DGF high school boy contacted investigators. I talked to one neighbor who lives across the street from the State Bank of Lake Park here in Hitterdal. He said he didn't even know that the bank had been robbed. He looked out the window and the place was crawling with police. They're all talking about what happened here last night at this condominium structure that's now simply a burned out pile of rubble. And instead they decided to try to help out the best way they knew how. 1 week ago, shots rang out in North Fargo and Officer Jason Mosier lay helpless on the street. A number of issues with searching this terrain in rural Becker County. Among them, it's very heavily forested. And now, if you're causing a disturbance here at the West Acres Mall, say cheese. Police have you being bad on body camera. A neighbor living in this yellow house says she heard 2 loud bangs this morning. She saw the flames, called 911, and then ran over to this garage. Grand Forks police are still searching for suspects after a man was beaten and robbed early this morning. Colfax is a city on the grow. There's been a 50% increase in population, and they just added a new addition onto the high school after a gunman opened fire during Bible study. The gunman, now identified as a 21-year-old from Lexington, South Carolina,